All right, I want to show you a little project I'm making out of a Chevy accumulator dryer. So I've already cut it in half. Actually, I was playing around to see how it welded, and I welded it onto this piece of a drive shaft, aluminum drive shaft scrap. So that's the bottom. I'll cut it back off, but it welds decent. So if any of you have ever cut one of these open, I actually just cut this off this side. This is like off a 1500 Chev, but I just cut that off there. But what this does, it's pretty neat because they have this tube inside. Now I'm going to weld up the holes on this tube. There's a couple little holes. You'll see them that they put them there, and there's one on this filter on the other side of this filter. Hard to see it through there, but there's a hole in there. So I'll weld those up. But then this goes in here and comes up the top. So this actually comes out here, and I'm going to weld that back in. I cut it out on purpose so I could weld the holes. But as you notice, it's just a tube that goes up and around. So this is going to be a perfect catch can. I'm going to make it, and I'm going to weld on. I'm going to take off the anodizing on these number 8s here, and so I am going to actually probably use this one here that has a male thread here, and I'll be able to fit that in there, and I'll weld that into that. First I'll weld the tube back in, and then this into that. And so what that'll do is basically make a pretty long, as you can see how that, I mean, a filter dryer does the same kind of thing as a catch can. It collects the oil and any debris in the refrigerant system. So this is just an interesting mod. So you'll be able to basically catch your oil down here and keep it from going into your intake using this idea. I'm going to give it a shot. I'll see how it turns out. Okay, this is part 2 of my catch can build. Previously, you saw the innards of how this pipe here goes down and comes back up over on this side. And this is a straight shot with a small piece of pipe that comes down a little bit, right down about here. So this was the accumulator dryer from a Silverado. And I had some scrap driveline, aluminum driveline cutoffs. So we've put that into this. It's perfect. It slid. We got to slide in just about that much. And we just welded it. And then I just fabricated a piece of plate on the bottom for the bottom. Decided not to use the rounded part. I'm a novice at TIGging, so don't criticize me for this. It'll get better. I've welded all my life, but I just got my first TIG. Some aren't so bad, but it is airtight. It's a watertight, liquid tight. That's the one cool thing I'm finding out with aluminum. As you weld it, you can really see it seam up, and there's no question that it's going to be a liquid tight seal. Really cool. So got that there. This was the original fitting here was cut off, and I've welded on a 8N bung there. And guys, I know this isn't showpiece stuff, but I like my own stuff. I mean, it sounds bad. I like building stuff myself. A raw mechanical look. That's kind of my style. Making stuff out of stuff I find left over, like this. Hey, Rocky. He's going to lay down on the heating pad. He's got it figured out. But anyway, so we're gonna use this. I put another one up here. Same thing. Just welded these right in. I tried an experiment. This one I stripped all the anodizing off, and it welded fine. This one I didn't bother. I let the machine do the work. It still did it. You can see a little bit more of the corrosion, basically the anodizing. Probably it welded fine. It went in good. If you get a close up of it there, you can see it. I mean, anyway, it welded in fine. So focus. Now, short of, there's still some more things for me to do. I'm going to tap this on the bottom and add a drain with like a valve that you could just drain it quickly. But so it's about 11 inches or so tall. But you know, just want to make my own stuff. I thought it'd be cool. I'll be installing this in my Silverado here in the future. And I may even tap the cylinder heads, not the valve covers, but the cylinder heads on the end for these, and put some of these connections in the cylinder heads. There's not a lot of room on the valve covers for it, so I might switch it up a little bit. But anyway, just want to show you guys how that turned out. I think it'll be really a good functional piece. I need a little more polishing to do. I got a few. This is where the pressure switch goes on your stock. Actually, maybe it was over here. There's two sides here. Yeah, it was this side. So your stock pressure switch, that is your low limit switch. It would be considered your low limit. That turns off the AC compressor when the pressure drops below a certain threshold. Was in here, and I cut that off, and then I filled it in, and then ground it, and I ground a little too far. So I got a little more polishing to do. But then again, maybe I'll just leave it like that. Do I care? I like the look of it, just saying, hey, I made that. So anyway, there's that.